A few months ago, this 747 was still a royal jet from Qatar, not an airliner with tight rows of seats, but a head-of-state aircraft with bedrooms, sitting rooms, a small office, a larger bathroom, and an upper deck built for long trips. In 2026, that same aircraft started getting attention from the US Air Force for a different job, a temporary presidential aircraft. The reason is not hard to see. The current Air Force One jets have been flying for decades, and Boeing's official replacements were not ready on the original schedule. Sitting on the other side of that problem was a 747-8 that already existed, had serious range, and had enough room for the president and the travel party. As a stopgap, it made sense on paper. The problem is what has to happen after that. A presidential aircraft is not just a comfortable cabin with a big flag on the tail. The president still works in the air. A new briefing can come in before landing. A secure call may be needed over the ocean. A military update cannot depend on the same kind of connection a passenger uses to check email. The cabin may look calm in photos, but the important part is buried behind it. The 747-8 Intercontinental gives the Air Force a lot of aircraft to work with. It is about 250 feet long, with a wingspan of about 224 feet, and the tail stands almost 64 feet tall. On the ramp, it feels different. A 747 that size has the presence of a small building that happens to move. That space helps, but the Qatar cabin was already finished. This was not an empty shell waiting for a new layout. It already had bedrooms, lounges, a dining area, an office, crew areas, and storage. Behind the smooth panels were wiring, lights, cabinets, and expensive finishes. Open one wall and the job can spread fast. Under the wings are 4 General Electric 𝗤𝗂𝗀𝗀𝗯𝗶𝗃 engines. Each one produces about 66,500 pounds of thrust at takeoff. These engines are newer than the ones on older 747s, and one of their advantages is how they move air. The large fan at the front pulls in huge amounts of air, and much of it flows around the hot core to help push the aircraft forward. So the engine is not just relying on hot combustion in the middle. A lot of the thrust comes from the air moved by the fan. That affects noise, fuel burn, and range. For presidential travel, that matters because routes do not always follow the first plan. Weather shifts, diplomatic schedules slide, security concerns can force a different path. At maximum takeoff weight, the aircraft is around 987,000 pounds. It can carry about 63,000 gallons of fuel. Depending on payload and configuration, its range can go beyond 8,000 nautical miles, putting many major world capitals within reach from Washington without a fuel stop. For long-distance travel, that is strong. Range is still only one part of the job. The current Air Force One aircraft, known as the 𝗤𝗂𝗀𝗃𝗃 are based on the Boeing 747-200B. The two jets have been in service since the early 1990s, and keeping them ready is not getting easier. But inside, they were built around a very specific mission. They are not just 747s with a presidential paint job. Inside the 𝗤𝗂𝗃𝗃, there is a presidential office, staff space, a galley, a press area, medical facilities, and secure communications gear. Those links are not just onboard Wi-Fi or a basic satellite phone. The president has to stay connected to the White House, senior officials, the military, and command centers. Even the name Air Force One is easy to misunderstand. It's not the name of a single airplane, it's the radio call sign for any US Air Force aircraft carrying the president. Americans have seen the blue and white 747 as the face of presidential travel for so long that the name has stuck to that shape. The Qatar jet already checks some obvious boxes. It's big, it has long range, and the cabin is comfortable for long trips. The issue is that its interior was built for the Qatar head of state, not for the way the US government operates on the road. From the photos and reports that have circulated, it looks more like a private home in the sky than an official government workspace. The front of a 747 is usually the quietest and most private part of the aircraft. On a VIP jet, that area can become a main bedroom with a real bed, closets, a small table, screens, and far more room than first class. For a royal aircraft, that layout makes sense. For an American presidential aircraft, the same room has to be reviewed again. The bedroom itself is not the issue. The job of the space has changed. A bedroom on an aircraft may sound excessive to a regular passenger. A president's schedule is different. A 12-hour flight can be followed by a meeting, a speech, or a formal visit with no real break. If someone has to step off the jet and start working, a real place to sleep is not just luxury. It is part of keeping the person functional. The bathroom is also far removed from the tiny lavatory on a normal airliner. On a commercial jet, every inch is counted. On a VIP 747, it can include a larger sink, cabinets, and a shower. The main passenger can wash up, change clothes, and step off the aircraft ready to meet people. Farther back, the cabin becomes a lounge. That space was originally built for receiving guests, eating, talking, or resting during long flights. Once the aircraft takes on a presidential role, the lounge cannot be seen only as a place to relax. Behind the panels, it may need wiring, screens, secure communication links, or access points for technicians who have to reach the systems later. The large table in the lounge changes roles too. On a presidential flight, it can become a place for a security briefing or a video call before landing. An outsider sees a table and chairs. The technical team sees power, data lines, cooling, and access roles. The upper deck adds more usable space. On an airline, that area usually holds premium passengers. On a VIP jet, it can serve as a lounge or crew rest area. For security teams, the staircase is an access route, and people going up or down have to be accounted for. VIP interiors are built to look clean. Cables are hidden, panels are smoothed over, and bolts disappear from view. For comfort, that works. For maintaining important systems, it can create headaches. If equipment fails, technicians need to reach it without tearing apart half the cabin. Communications may be the hardest part of the conversion. Mid-flight, the president could receive new information only minutes before landing. He may need a secure link to speak with officials or the military right away. A system like that cannot have only one path. If one connection fails, another has to be ready. The equipment needed for that is not small. There are electronics racks, antennas, power supplies, cooling systems, and cables that have to run through the right places. Electronics also generate heat. If that heat is not removed properly, the system can fail when the aircraft is being used for an important trip. This is where a purpose-built aircraft and a finished aircraft start to separate. If the jet is designed for presidential work from the beginning, equipment spaces and cable paths can be planned early. On the Qatar jet, much of the space was already taken. Engineers have to find room, open panels, move pieces around, and still keep the aircraft safe, balanced, and airworthy. Outside the cabin, the work keeps going. Pilots have to train on the 747-8. Technicians have to understand its systems. Spare parts have to be available before the jet is used regularly. The 747-8 is still part of the 747 family, but it is not the older 𝗤𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗯𝗂. Other aircraft supported the program too. An Atlas Air 747-8F for early pilot training, plus former Lufthansa 747-8I aircraft for training and parts. Not flashy, but important. If one part is hard to find, the schedule can slip. 𝗤𝗂𝗂𝗁 took on the major modification work, while Boeing supported the project with engineering data. This is not a private jet renovation. The structure cannot be cut just because someone needs extra space. New equipment cannot be installed without checking the electrical load. Cooling cannot be left for later. If one piece is wrong, the problem can show up in flight. Daily logistics are not as simple as loading suitcases into the cargo hold. A presidential flight can carry food, documents, communications gear, security equipment, personal items, crew supplies, and sometimes reporters who need seats and power. Everything has to enter through a controlled path, be stored correctly, and remain accessible during flight. Defensive systems are another part of the job. The full details of presidential aircraft protection are not public. In general, high-value aircraft can use warning sensors, signal jammers, chaff, flares, and systems meant to deal with heat-seeking missiles. The point is not to make the aircraft invincible. It is to buy the crew a few seconds when those seconds matter. Heat-seeking missiles usually chase the heat from the engines. The most vulnerable moments are takeoff and landing, when the aircraft is low and still building speed. At high altitude, a 747 is much harder for short-range weapons to reach. Around an airport, the risk looks different. Flares create a false heat source to pull a missile away from the engines. Chaff releases small material pieces that can make radar see a false target. They help, but aircraft this important usually do not depend on one layer of protection. There are also directed infrared countermeasures. A system like that can detect a missile launch, track its direction, and disrupt the missile's sensor with infrared energy. In simple terms, it confuses the missile's eye. In that kind of moment, a few seconds can change the outcome. Electromagnetic pulse is a different threat. It can damage electronics. For a presidential aircraft, that is a serious problem. Communications, navigation, computers, and mission equipment cannot simply die. The aircraft has to keep working even if systems around it are being disrupted. The concept often discussed here is a Faraday cage. Important equipment is protected by conductive shielding so electromagnetic energy does not go straight into sensitive electronics. It sounds simple, but the installation is difficult. The shielding has to be connected properly because even a small gap can become a weak point. On an aircraft designed for this from the beginning, that protection can be built into the design. On a finished VIP jet, it has to be added afterward. Wood panels, leather surfaces, cabinets, floors, and ceilings may have to come open. Then, everything has to be put back together without making the cabin look patched up. Outside the engineering work, the aircraft created political debate. Some people worried about a foreign-supplied jet with questions around ethics, influence, and security. Others saw it as a fast way to cover a temporary need. Either way, free at the start does not mean cheap by the end. Modifications, paint, security work, training, certification, and maintenance still cost real money. Time is the main reason this aircraft was taken seriously. Boeing's official 𝗤𝗂𝗀𝗁𝗂𝗃 program had fallen behind the original plan. The two new aircraft meant to replace the old Air Force One jets were not ready yet. The bridge aircraft was brought in to cover that gap before the purpose-built jets arrive. After major modifications, the aircraft cannot just be declared ready. Its weight changes, the center of gravity has to be checked again, electrical systems need testing, and cooling for new equipment has to be enough. If even one area causes trouble, the aircraft is not ready for presidential missions. The crew also needs time to adjust. Pilots have to learn the aircraft, technicians have to know where the new equipment is, security teams have to understand the cabin flow, staff traveling on board need to know which areas are restricted. On a presidential aircraft, small confusion can slow down the response. The maintenance schedule has to make sense too. The aircraft cannot spend too much time in a hangar because one system is hard to reach. For the presidential fleet, being available matters as much as the ability to fly. On May 1, 2026, the U.S. Air Force announced that the 𝗤𝗂𝗀𝗃𝗃 bridge aircraft had completed modification and flight testing. After that, it moved into paint for a summer rollout. That made the project feel much more real, especially for anyone who expected the conversion to take longer. But a public announcement does not mean every detail is public. The communications, defense, and protection systems on a presidential aircraft will not be fully explained. People can usually see the outside shape, the new paint, and a few general facts. The most important parts remain behind the panels. The word bridge matters here. This is not the final replacement. It is meant to cover the gap while the long-term aircraft continue toward delivery. The bridge jet is a conversion. The official 𝗤𝗂𝗃𝗃𝗃 aircraft are being built around the mission from the beginning. A better way to see it is as a major retrofit. A VIP jet built for comfort has to be changed so it can meet US government needs. Some parts of the cabin may still look luxurious. Other parts have to make room for equipment, cables, cooling, and security systems that never show up in promotional photos. A clean cabin photo is not enough to judge the result. The communications links have to stay stable, equipment has to be reachable when something goes wrong, electrical systems and cooling cannot get overwhelmed when everything is running at the same time. A polished interior does not tell you whether the aircraft is easy to maintain. If the aircraft works safely, it gives the government a useful temporary option. If its capability is too limited, it will show why presidential aircraft are usually built slowly and expensively. Not everything can be rushed just because the airframe already exists. From the outside, most people may only notice the new paint and the size of the 747. The work that matters most sits in places no passenger will ever photograph. Panels that have to open, cables that cannot be routed wrong, equipment that has to stay cool, and crew procedures for the moment something does not go as planned.